Hey, let's cover the find an average rate of change on an interval. I've had a lot of students ask me about this. I want to show you how to do it using a simpler non-fractional form. And then I'm going to go through and do the harder ones that you're seeing on the homework. Because I know Michael had one of those questions. So let's go with, we've got f of x is equal to 3x squared minus 10x. And this is on the interval from -1 to 2. So a lot of y'all are getting this confused and thinking this is an ordered pair. This is not an ordered pair. This is actually a domain of this interval that they're wanting you to find the average rate of change when x is -1 on the interval, and then when x is 2 on the interval. So these are both representing x's. These are not parentheses. This is a set from -1 to 2, and we're going to know what the change is from that graph from x is -1 to x is 2. So let's do that. In order to do that, we have to plug in -1 for our x's, and then we're going to have to plug in 2 for our x's, and then find our average rate of change. So first we've got f of -1. That's 3 times -1 squared minus 10 times -1. The -1 has to go in the parentheses. The negative cannot go outside the parentheses because it is the entire thing. So everywhere there's an x, you're going to replace it with -1. That's 3 times 1, because -1 squared is just 1. Negative times negative is plus 10, so this is 13. So our first point is -1, 13. This is an ordered pair. It's an XY ordered pair that we just found. Plugged in -1, got back 13. Input, output, X, Y. All right, let's do the next one, f of 2. When x is 2, that means if this helps you to see what you're going to plug in, what you plug in here, that 2 has to go into these parentheses where the x's were. I just made a parentheses where the x was, and I'm just going to shove in that 2. 2 squared is 4. 10 times 2 is 20. 12 minus 20 is -8. So our second order pair is 2, -8. The next and last piece of this, all we need are these two ordered pairs, and we're going to use our rate of change formula. M is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And I'm just going to randomly x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. And it's going to be -8 minus 13 over 2 minus -1. So that's going to be -21 over 2 plus 1 is 3. That's divisible, so -7. There you go. That is the average rate of change over that interval from -1 to 2 for this function. Now, I'm going to do the one that Michael asked me to do, and it's straight from your homework. And if you're weak in fractions, it's going to kick your ticket. Let me pull it up real quick. All right, it is g of x is equal to 4x to the 4th plus 4 over x cubed, and it's on the interval from -4 to 2. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing I did with the last one. It's just going to look weirder because there's going to be some crazy fractions. Don't be afraid of them. It's just numbers. So I'm going to plug in -4 first. 4 times plus 4 over. Okay, so I'm going to have to plug that -4 into both. All right, -4 to the 4th is what? 4 times 4 is 16 times 4. Let me do this up. So 4 to the 4th. All right, is 256, but it's times 4. And it's 1024. Why didn't I put a negative in there? Because I know a negative to an even number is positive. So 1024. I know a negative raised to an odd number is going to be a negative. And so this is 4 over 64. All right. Before I go through and combine these two numbers, I want to reduce this fraction first so I don't have such a crazy number to reduce later. 4 and 64 reduced to 1/16. So that's 1024 minus 1/16. All right, that's better. So now I just need to multiply the 1024 by 16 over 16. (16,384) minus 1 over 16 is 16,383 over 16. Those do not reduce. 16 only is made up of 2's, so that's not going to work for us. All right, so our first ordered pair, now this is XY version, is -4, and then 16,383 over 16. What does this look like fraction form? If you wrote all the numbers down, you could probably make it work, but you would have to represent everything, okay? You can test it to see if it works for us to get you the right answer. But the problem is they're going to want the fraction form in my open math. So got to get stronger with the fractions. All right, if you're not there, let me help you. The next one is going to be g of 2. So that is 4 times 2 squared plus 4 over 2 cubed. 2 to the 4th is 4 times 16. 16 times 4 is 64. Plus 4 over 8. I'm going to go ahead and reduce this 4/8 to 1/2. Just to make my fraction easier. 2 times, so I'm going to multiply by 2 over 2. Just put this extra step in here. Is 128 plus 1 over 2, which is 129 over 2. That does not reduce. So our second order pair, so we have this one, and we have 2 and 129 over 2. All right. Now we're going to need to take those two order pairs and find the average rate of change. So I've got -4, 16,383 over 16, and I've got 2, 129 over 2. Remember, average rate of change, y2 minus y1 over x of 2 minus x of 1, y1, x2, y2. So 129 over 2 minus 16,383 over 16 divided by 2 minus -4. Okay. I'm just looking at the numerator right now. And the common denominator is going to be 16 because both 2 and 16 go into 16. So what does 2 need in order to get to 16? We're going to need to multiply this side by 8 over 8 because 8 times 2 would give us the 16, and then we can combine our numerators. So 8 times 129 is 1032 minus 16,383. All of this is over 16, and all of this is over 2 plus 4, which is 6. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and subtract these two. 1032 minus 16,383 is -15,351 over 16 over 6. Okay, the way to look at this is -15,351 over 16, and that is divided by 6. So when you see that, you can keep, switch, flip. This is how they teach it in schools, I think. -15,351 over 16. You keep this one the same. You switch it from division to multiplication, and then you flip, because this is always 6 over 1, to 1 over 6. Okay, before I just multiply and make the denominator larger, I want to see if I can reduce. I know this is only made up of 2's, but this has a 3 in it. So will this be divisible by 3? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. These add up to 15, which is divisible by 3. So I'll be able to reduce both of these by 3. This will become a 2, and this will become what? Divided by 3 is -5,117. So this is -5,117 over 16 times 1/2 is -5,117 over 32. And that is the answer. That is the average rate of change on the interval from -4 to 2 for that function of g of x. All right, let me know if y'all have any questions.